Another Bluejay Shakeout podcast is here. Josh Peterson, Chris Gannon joining you. We chat every couple of weeks. Chris, how are you? Good to be talking again.
Oh, it's good, man. It's an indoor track season.
It is indoor track season. So this is the way that we're going to start today. I am coming off of something. I am sick right now. I will be working from home. I did not go to work on Wednesday. My voice is a little scratchy. I'm coughing a little bit. A lot of people are doing that at this time of year.
It is
How
going
do
around 100%.
yeah yeah and
Like, it's
so I
literally
mean this
wreaking
isn't
havoc on the team. Like we have a
yeah
house right
and so
now, and there's like 6 people that live in the house, and we've started at one end of it, and we're counting down to how many people are left to get sick. And right now, it's been passed through 4 of the 6, so we're waiting for the last 2 to get sick. It's a very real thing.
Yes, it is. So, how does a coach of a track team deal with that? Given that I have to imagine that when the winter season begins, when you get to track season, there's probably an expectation, right? Of like, this is going to happen. Do you build that into planning? What does that look like for you this time of year?
Fortunately, we have an incredible sports med team here. We're starting with our trainer, Ivana, and then all the way up to our physicians and everybody here. So we're really, really fortunate in that sense that, if we have somebody sick, we can typically get them into a doc day of, get meds, taken care of right away. But yeah, it's a real conversation, and it's not so much. We even talked about like, hey, if you're sick, you need to communicate with that for us. Like, hey, we need to adjust workouts to this, that, the other. But also, you need to stay away from everybody else so that we don't get 100% of our people sick. But yeah, it's part of it. And I think the hardest part is as a runner, you're like, oh, I'm fine, or I need to get back out there and want to get back to running. And the reality is, an extra day off probably is better off than trying to push through still being a little sick, because you push through that and then you're just delaying your body getting back to full. So we're always like, hey, take one extra day, an extra day to try to be a little bit healthier. That's kind of our approach to it. But very, very much a real thing that you just have to kind of navigate. Sometimes you're counting like how many people are left. But yeah, the illness and injury report's a real thing that we get on a weekly basis and go through with our sports med team, and it changes daily right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. My wife texted me. She was at work last night, and she said, "You're not planning on running tomorrow, are you?" And I said, "I don't know."
Yeah,
but
exactly.
she is smart. I decided not to run for the best. It snowed overnight, so let's get a little bit healthier. My marathon is so far away, and for you and the team, it's of course a long season. So everybody, let's get healthy out there with whatever we are doing. Let's talk about the last couple of races for you before or right after we spoke. A couple of weeks ago, you had the Graduate Classic in Lincoln, a 2-day race. Prairie Wolf Invite as well in Lincoln last week. Seemed like a pretty successful couple of races for the team.
Yeah, it's always weird. We don't report back to campus until the week we race. It's just the way the academic calendar and the competition calendar line up here. So literally that first meet, the Graduate Classic is a great meet put on by Lincoln, Huskers down there in Lincoln, a great facility. We literally only ran people in 3 events. They're either running the 600, the K, or the 3K. Kind of really used it as a workout, just kind of see where we were at. Still had some really, really good performances coming out of that. A couple school records, a couple of number 2 all times, a few things, in that nature. And then, yeah, we bounced back last week to Prairie Wolf. A little bit more into like, hey, we might run a little bit, a regular event for us, but really still trying to keep our eye on towards the month of February, which is only a few days away. That's our goal, is to try to, for indoor season anyway, to run fast. And for some of our kids, they're already looking towards the outdoor season, especially some of our 10K people, bigger goals there. So, yeah, you have to be pleased with the number of school records and all-time top 10 marks that we had, SPED. Some of it, I'll be honest, it's like the 600, I think, we set 9 of the top 10 all-time marks in school history in the men's 600. Well, the 600 doesn't get run very often, so it looks real nice on paper. But the top 10 list now is a little more legitimate than it might have been 2 weeks ago. But there's also been some really, really good performances in marks that have been pushed out of a top seed or a second or third position. And it's just exciting to see the team continue to improve and work towards those goals and rewrite that history.
Yeah, speaking of rewriting some of the history, Noah Joden, he ran the 3K in 8:25, second fastest time in program history. He also was the runner who finished at the top of that field of 33 racers. I mean, did you think he had that kind of day in him?
So the funny thing is we ran that really chill. We didn't even fully race it. So we absolutely ran it as a workout for him. We said, hey, this is where we want to be at 1K, and then we literally just kind of started to squeeze, to turn the screws, if you will, to the point where he closed in 33, 32, 31, 29 for his last 800 meters, and he had more left and was smiling the whole way. So which is great because we really haven't done any fast work yet. He came back last week, ran the mile. Definitely not in mile shape right now, but the goal is for him to be 3K, 5K shape in indoor and then move to 10K. So I'm pretty pleased with where he's at. He's an Arizona transfer, came in last year. We missed him during cross this fall as he redshirted, trying to get his eligibility balanced back out. But definitely talented. He was super excited. That's a true lifetime PR for him. But there's definitely more there. We'll be running 3K with him at Iowa State next week, and the goal is to run pretty quick. I'm excited to see what that yields for us. But he's a very mature runner. He's fit right now for sure. And he's just become a lot more intelligent and a lot more wise in the racing and the tactics of things as well too. And that was probably one of the most impressive things. Like, he knew what we wanted to do in that 3K, and I bet he was 100 meters back of the lead at one point in time because we were executing our race plan for what we were wanting to do that day. So props to him. I can't take a lot of credit for that.
Let's expand on that a little bit more, because I find that stuff very interesting, right? Where you have a game plan going into a race, and I imagine you've probably had that with many of your athletes over the years, and maybe it gets thrown out a little early because the competitive nature of things start to kick in. His approach to that, I have to imagine that's something you really like seeing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. The idea of this feels too easy. We tell people if you're a distance person and it feels too easy, that's typically a good thing, especially early on. You've run a marathon before, Josh. When it feels easy at mile 6, that doesn't mean speed up. It's the same thing. If we're looking at it, especially a 10K or 5K for Noah, but even that 3K the other day, he was literally smiling the whole time, and literally the entire race just got faster and faster and faster almost every lap. But that was the goal. Especially for some of our young runners who've never run a 200-meter track before, or never run a 3K distance because they ran 3,200 in high school, but that was on a 400-meter track. So it's just very different. And so understanding race tactics and understanding execution and understanding that, depending on the race and where it is in the season, sometimes running fast matters and sometimes place matters. And so those are all just parts of that narrative and game planning, if you will. That we're working on. So it's a process, and especially for some of our young kids, it doesn't click right away. They're moving up from high school, different events, or they were the best in high school, and the things they could get away with in high school, they can't get away with at the college level because everything's leveled up. That's probably one of the biggest things. Like, oh, I thought I could close on that. Or oh, well, I'm always used to settling into that top group. Well, the top group is now shifted, my friend. So it's just it's a different approach. And so when you see someone like Noah as a junior, or Jake as a senior, or one of these guys that has the maturity, even Carly's ran really, really well this week. Annika, same thing. They've kind of come into their own and figured out how they race and what works for them, and understanding a race field and when to make moves and how to close. That's when, as a coach, it takes a little bit of the sweat and stress off.
Yeah, you mentioned Annika Nedikoven. She also was able to set a new record for the university in her 1K race, and that was at the following weekend. I wonder, was the game plan similar for her? What were you hoping from her in that race, and how she approached it and how she was able to execute?
Yeah, she and Fairs, she was with Coach Fairs as far as that mid-distance group. They had a game plan going in, and yeah, that was the goal, break school record. And she executed really, really well. That women's group, I think 1, 2, 4, and 5 all-time 1K times were reset. The only one is Danielle is third now, and Danielle is obviously pretty legit in her own right. And then pretty much that same group of girls is now 1 through 4 in the women's 600. So, it's not just Annika. Carly's ran well, Quinn's ran well. You know, it's been a really, really solid, effort from that mid distance group on the ladies side and the men's side too. Fairs has got that group rolling for sure. But yeah, Annika, she's definitely come into her own. We go all the way back to last spring on the track. She kind of had some breakout moments in the 800 there, especially at Big East. That was kind of this really big moment where she made finals for the first time ever, and she set a PR by like a 3 or 4 second PR in the preliminary, and that's a lot of time in the 800. And it's just her having the confidence and understanding and being in the right race to be able to execute. I think that other group of girls that's right there with her, whether that be a couple of those girls we mentioned, or Raina or Alexis as well, so there's a group of girls that are ready to do something pretty special in that mid distance group. And the guys side, I feel like we kind of know the story of Jake and Evan, and who's Brian Hildebrand or who else that is going to be part of that group. It's one of the young guys. If it's Matt Lindgren or Kyle or Reese, those mid distance groups, Fairs got them rolling. So.
Does it seem like then that there could be more surprises on the women's side of things, where you're kind of figuring out exactly what you have with this group?
I think it's probably pretty even for surprises. I think with each side, I think we have a couple of pretty well established veterans that we are like, hey, we're going to count on, Jake, Evan, Carly, Annika, right? And then it's going to be who's going to step up into those other spots. And especially if we look at like Big East for the DMR, you need a miler, you need a 1,200 person, 800 person, or 400 person, and what that looks like right now. And so, that's a fun event. It's one of my favorite events. DMR and sprint medley are both, top. I think it's just magical, like how you're pairing all these different, race distances together. And so there've been a lot of conversations in the office the last week, what those, DMR squads are going to look like heading to Big East a month from now. I do think there'll be some surprises. I also think that we're kind of counting on some of these veterans to do what we know they're capable of.
Awesome. And so the next race is coming up on Friday, the 6th of February. This one will be in Ames at Iowa State. Like, I kind of finishing up here today, Chris, as we record on this Thursday, how much of a game plan do you already have, and how much of that game plan is going to come into focus over the next week before Friday?
We wish next week's weather was this week. How about that? Yeah, 55 next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that right now. I wish that was this week. We are going to try to get outside yet today for some work. We need to be able to, get some big work in. It's pretty tough to do in our indoor space with tight turns and whatnot. So yeah, I think Fairs and I both are planning to get work done today. Long run Saturday, then light work probably on Monday, and then it's just kind of we're hoping to run fast at Iowa State, so the rest of that week will be pretty light. That gap between Iowa State and then the return to Nebraska for the third time, we'll probably get some work done again, and then after Nebraska, we're right to Big East already. It's going to go quick the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We did our first episode of the new year last week, and now I imagine, much like in the fall, we'll be saying, wow, can you believe it's already this day or this day or this day? Because it is just now, 3 days away from February, which seems pretty much impossible. But I can't believe it's 2026 either. Chris Gannon, I'm Josh Peterson, another Bluejay Shakeout pod. Chris, let's hope that the weather, you mentioned it, it's about to get good. Let's hope for health and healing for all of your athletes as well, and that we start feeling good as the calendar turns on into February.
Appreciate it, Josh. Yeah, no, looking forward to what's ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another edition of the Bluejay Shakeout podcast. Certainly a like and subscribe. Share it with those in your life who you think would enjoy these conversations. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. For Chris, I'm Josh. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.